Hey, welcome back to another episode of Grunkle Shawn's Storytime. If you're new to the station, just click up there or look up in this corner. You'll see some possible videos that might interest you. You ask me, Grunkle Shawn, why do you do what you do? Well, your great-grandmother, my mother, always dreamed that she could travel like I am, like my older brothers have done, like my sister has done. My dad, your great-grandfather, sacrificed, just like your great-grandmother sacrificed, so that we could have the opportunities that they never did. Taking a page from what I believe to be my map in life of logotherapy by Viktor Frankl, of going for my dreams, like my dad always taught us, 7 kids, and my mom always supported us 100%. Well, maybe not 100%, but you know, moms are moms, and she was always looking out for our best interests. Dad was the yes you can kind of person, because he never became the doctor or the physical therapist that he had a master's degree in to do. He was a postal clerk for 36 years. I did something they would probably never dream of doing. I was planning on taking a subway any random direction and then renting a bicycle and biking along the water here. Filthy, disgusting water here. I would never swim in it, but it's got some great bike trails. That was the plan. But my cards would not work. I couldn't read the monitor because nothing is in English, and there was no one able to help me rent a bike. People who knew English had never rented a bike, so they were, and also they didn't have the time to show me. It was 30 years ago this week that your great-great-grandmother passed away. 2 days before, your great cousin, Makeda, she passed away, basically virtually of the same illness, cervical cancer. Makeda suffered for maybe a year longer than my mom, your great-grandmother. However, I'm actually glad that my mom, your great-grandmother, it took less than 9 months for her to suffer and to succumb to cancer. I've seen what cancer can do to people when they go into remission and they come out of it and then they go back in, and it's a roller coaster of being euphoric because they've survived another potential tragedy, but then it's so emotionally draining. It is so financially draining. It is so difficult. One of the reasons why I do what I do, one of the reasons why I became a teacher, is your great-grandmother, Mildred Louise Henderson Carson, or as we learned before she passed away, that her real name was Billie Mae Henderson. She was a teacher. And a great teacher. Well, she wasn't the best teacher as far as in a classroom, but as far as being a mother and a leader and a role model, she was fantastic. Made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. There is no perfect way to raise a child. There is no perfect way to run a household. She was fantastic. Not the best cook. I learned to cook when I was 8, but none of us ever went hungry. Your great-grandmother, Mildred Louise Henderson Carson, is one of the main reasons why I have begun my travels over 30 years ago, and why I will continue to do epic shit. Makeda, who died at 46 in 1992 of cervical cancer, she was one of the most amazing influences on my young life. Her son, Malik, is my second cousin, but we're like brothers. And he's one of my biggest fans on this channel, by the way. Thank you so much, Malik. when I was very young, maybe 8 or 9 years old, I was over their house, and Makeda was a woman who would experiment with almost anything and everything. So for many years she had dreadlocks and she followed the tenets of Rastafarianism. So I learned a little bit about that in my early impressionable years. But one of the most fascinating things about her was about 10 years later she cut off all her dreads and was completely bald and studying Buddhism. And then she studied Taoism and other religions, as if that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to experiment with the world, with ourselves, and find out what fits best for us. So I'm here, one of the many reasons why I do what I do, as a tribute, as an homage to my mom and my cousin Makeda and my dad and all those before. These are your ancestors. These are your great-great-grandmother and your great-great cousin. Before my father passed away, I tried to get him on video telling stories of what it was like growing up. I hated those stories when I was trying to get out of the door with my friends when I was 13 and 14 and 15 years old. But before he passed away, I wanted him to tell the stories to his grandkids and have the mannerisms and have the energy into the stories and record those for posterity, for the generations after. I did get quite a few hours filmed. It was tedious. I had to keep downloading the video to my laptop and whatnot, so we could only record like 7 minutes, 8 minutes at a time. It wasn't good. But we do have his voice and his personage on film. We have him telling the stories. With my mother, she died many years before, and she was very shy, very timid about her upbringing or about her history. She never told many people, anyone I don't think, about who she was or where she came from. Her mom and her grandmother. We knew more about her grandmother and her great aunt who raised her, Mary, than we did about anyone else in her family. Not to say she was embarrassed about it, but she never talked about it. No one really knows. All those stories are gone. I don't want our stories to be gone because history is very easily overwritten or forgotten. So part of the reason why I do epic shit, why I do what I do, I just live, is to be able to also create memories. I have a huge legacy of nieces, nephews, grieces, and greffies. I have a huge legacy of friends who are just like brothers and sisters to me. And family, of course. I have a huge legacy of over 2,500 students that I have been able to positively impact. And they have impacted on me as well, as far as teaching me so much about how to be a better human being, how to be a good role model or a good teacher, and what to improve on. I attribute everything I am to my mom and my dad, and to Makeda, and to many others before, and many others who were here just about 5 years ago and now they're not. They're all a big part of me. They're all a big part of us. So when you see these videos many years in the future and you're showing them to your kids, Grunkle Shawn says, peace, do, epic.